After taking it on the chin for 2 days, Donald Trump came out of court to talk to reporters in a desperate attempt to reframe the narrative away from Stormy Daniels. Well, good luck with that, Donald, because Orange Turd is trending on Twitter, and probably Truth Social for that matter. And speaking of turds, Trump really stepped on one today, admitting to personally making the payments that are at the heart of the criminal case. Take a look.
And they have many prosecutors in there. I couldn't even count them. It looked to me like certainly they have had more than 20 prosecutors sitting there over the fact that somebody paid a lawyer, and in paying the lawyer, so it was a legal expense, that somebody happened to be me. I didn't do the bookkeeping. I didn't even know about it, but a very good bookkeeper marked a legal expense down as a legal expense. They didn't call it construction. They didn't call it building something or concrete or electrical cost. They called, very simply, a legal expense to a lawyer who's a lawyer.
Now, of course, it's always a rollicking good time listening to Trump float explanations to his MAGA followers. It's the dumb leading the dumber. And could it possibly be a Trump diatribe without him complaining how unfair it is and how he's the victim? Yeah, whatever happened to tough guy? But Trump whining about the large number of prosecutors that are on the case betrays a very important point about Trump, about working for Trump, and about the case itself. Like any large corporation, the Trump organization could hire an army of lawyers. Instead, Trump's legal team has been the island of misfit toys. After the election, it was Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. Now that he's into actual trials, Trump has done nothing but hire a parade of posers. At one point, Alina Habba was criticized by a judge for not knowing how to enter evidence into a trial. Now, this begs the question, why can't a billionaire afford better lawyers? Surely there are big law firms out there that could make a fortune off these cases. Just ask Rudy Giuliani how lucrative it is representing Trump. So, okay, Trump never pays, and so the big boys won't play. But there has to be some up-and-coming conservative lawyer wanting to make a name for themselves and try and fast-track a career onto the Supreme Court, right? Getting Trump off the hook would make a lawyer a hero in Republican circles. And yet, there's no line waiting out the door, which not only speaks to the quality of the case, it speaks to the defendant. If there's one thing every lawyer knows, it's don't take a case you can't control. And no matter how many times he tries and how many times he fails, Trump tries to tell the lawyers what to do. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Trump ordered his lawyers to tear Stormy Daniels apart. Well, it added to her credibility. It allowed her to describe more details that established the veracity of her testimony. Any good lawyer would have gone after her inconsistencies and gotten her off the stand. But nope, not these guys. They had to do Trump's bidding, and it blew up in their faces. Now, there's an old saying that goes, anyone who represents himself has a fool for a client. So what does that say about a lawyer who lets the fool of a client call the shots? As a result of all that damage to the case, Trump was desperate to move attention away from the sex story and offer up an exonerating explanation. But instead, he admitted to making the payments under question. And this is the difference between professional prosecutors and lawyers taking direction from their client. The prosecution has put witnesses on the stand from the Trump Organization who are about as exciting as watching paint dry. They go into explanations about payments and procedures that actually challenge the jury's ability to stay interested. But the purpose of all this testimony is to prove over and over through this person's testimony and that person's testimony the very important fact that Trump is extraordinarily cheap and controlling. He oversees every payment that goes out. Witnesses have talked about membership fees to country clubs, the cost of gifts, things that don't even get to the $10,000 range. And this so-called billionaire has to approve it. So repeated payments of $35,000 and Trump never asked what it's for? Sorry, that's not credible. It's for legal fees, accounting says. Sure, okay, but cheapskate Trump is going to let an even figure like $35,000 go without questioning on multiple occasions? Again, not credible. So your MAGA faithful may buy it, Donnie boy, but the jury, not so much. And Stormy Daniels? Well, she's just waiting to see the orange turd in an orange jumpsuit. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.